Welcome to this week's episode of Midweek Drum Hang. I got Isaac Teel from Tauk hopping on any minute now. As soon as I see him, I'll do that. But I hope everyone is doing well and staying safe out there. Just waiting for him to join. More and more people joining on. While we're waiting, kind of show you this new setup I got here. I finally got some drums in the apartment space, little EAD10, little trigger there, all mesh heads running through that guy right there. It's pretty awesome. It definitely has made things a lot easier so that I don't just have to practice on a drum pad. So, yeah, what's going on there? Okay, let's see if we can get Isaac here to join. Come on, Isaac. Where you at? Maybe if I send him a text message. Okay. Should be here any second. For those of you joining, we got Isaac Teel from Tauk, one of my favorite drummers. Super, super nice dude. Been touring with him now for, actually, obviously not now, but have been touring with him since about 2014, and he's just super talented. He's got super tight groove, chops for days, and most importantly, he's just extremely kind. So he's apparently having some issues finding this. So maybe apologize for the technical difficulties, but be there soon. See, Tauk's here. We could have Tauk join, but we can't have Isaac join. Oh, there we go. Now, here we go. Isaac. There he is.
What's up? What's going on, friend?
Nothing much, dude. I feel like we're dating ourselves with the WhatsApp thing, right?
Well, yeah, maybe, and maybe with the t-shirts too. I got a Dick Tracy t-shirt on.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie in a minute, but it was definitely one of my favorites growing up.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, Warren Beatty. He was dating Madonna at the time.
He was.
Now, what came first? Was it that they started dating after working on the movie, or they were dating and then they did a movie together?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like, it always starts with a, hey, we should be together and, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting some wheels spinning. You got a
Yeah, getting
strong,
some wheels
strong
here.
signal? Okay.
Pretty strong signal
Okay.
here.
Well, you're back with me now. What was that?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
We're good.
Cool. So how are you doing? How you living? You're in Denver these days?
Yes, sir, man. Can't complain living out here in Denver. It's really today. It's like almost 100 degrees. But, when you're able to get to the mountains and then come back home, but it's really nice. Um, I made the transition about a year and a half ago from New York City to here, and it's honestly been the best move, I think, for me.
Yeah, I almost did the move back in 2013 at some point. Um,
Yeah,
I realized that I could kind of live wherever, and Denver was like starting to be what it is now, and it kind of just
yeah,
made sense. But then I joined Dopapod, and I had to stay in New York, or at least in the general area.
yeah.
So
That's kind of the only hiccup in the moving to Denver, as everybody else in Tauk is back in New York. So things are a lot more scheduled in advance, which I don't mind because I'm a planner anyway. So I don't mind it, going to New York for a couple of weeks, before tour or whatever the case may be, or if those guys. I remember we started a fall tour here in Colorado one year. I think it was before I moved actually. So it's not out of the blue where we could it's not super strange if we started tour in a different place. So um, I'd go to New York for a couple of weeks and do some tour prep before we leave for tour then. But sort of live in both places, based in New York City, but living in Denver, Colorado.
yeah, I mean, I hear you on that. Ghostlight is kind of spread out all over the place between Philly based, but
Yeah.
Holly's in San Francisco and Dan's in Denver. So we pretty
Yeah.
much plan like however many days before tour to have rehearsal, and that's
Yep. That
about
makes sense.
as much as we get.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about things that we've actually never talked about. And when did you start playing drums, and how did it all come about?
Wow. Well, if my mom was telling this story, she would say that I was started playing drums before I was conceived. There's a story she likes to say that because both of my parents are musicians. My mom actually taught me how to play drums initially, but she's an organ player and my dad's a bass player. So apparently one day my dad was playing bass in the dining room and I was thumping to the beat in her stomach and I was supposedly dead on in her stomach. Dead on. So I guess that's kind of how I started. But I grew up playing gospel music, and that's kind of how I got my start. I had a lot of family members who played drums, including my mom, my uncles. I had like four cousins that played drums, two older than me, and so I got to just be saturated in music really, really early, just like but probably before I could really speak and form sentences. Um, I was saturated in music. I think I started playing drums when I was 5 years old. So, funny enough, I've been playing drums for 30 years now. It's crazy.
That's great. So
Yeah.
you started off just obviously in the home, but were you playing like in church in the gospel band?
Yeah, I was playing in church. The church I grew up in had a bunch of different choirs. They had an adult choir. They had a teenage choir, sort of middle. Then they had a really young kids choir. So I got to play for the young kids choir when they got to sing. They sang two selections each Sunday service, and that was kind of like my moment to play. And it was a weird thing because, you know, there was like 4, 5, 6 drummers in one church. And so everybody wants to play at some point. So there's designated times when you can play the choirs. You can play for so many other things, like, you know, devotional service. There's so many places where you can just get in a couple of songs in. So I was just trying to play. Honestly, my first instrument was tambourine. I love playing tambourine. To this day, I love playing tambourine.
There's a lot to it. A lot more than people think.
It's really difficult. It's not easy. You gotta have that rhythm that resonates deep. But yeah, man, I grew up playing drums in church, and I never even knew how to read music until I got to high school. And I started playing I played drums in junior high. I played for like the pit band, and I didn't do orchestra and jazz band until I got to high school. So that was kind of my introduction to, you know, different kind of genres. But I don't know. If you play gospel music, you can kind of play anything, to be honest.
Look at that.
There's just so many like blues, funk, soul, R&B, hip hop, all that stuff is in gospel music to me. At least I can hear it. So
it's all rooted in gospel music, right? For the most part, or maybe the blues, I guess, in a sense too. But like it all, like especially jazz and funk music and soul, 100%. Like without gospel music, it doesn't exist. So
yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how I already had that feel, you know, going into like second, third grade. I already had the feel down. So, you know, I had to learn a lot of different things in junior high and high school, and that's kind of when I really started learning how to play jazz and swing and you know, read charts and you know, sight read and all that. So that was kind of my introduction to the education, I think, of music. And then I went to the Drummers Collective in New York City for college, which was probably the greatest schooling of my life, honestly. I got to study with this guy named Pat Petrillo, who's a super great drummer instructor, and just got mixed in a lot of different things in New York City. I played for a lot of R&B artists on the East Coast, still playing for my church, and still, you know, at the time I was teaching 3rd and 4th graders music. So, you know, all kinds of facets in music I've just been, you know, in and around my life since jump. So it's been a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize just how much the musical life you had, or like how deeply embedded it was until you came out with, was it last year or has it been 2 years and time's just been flying by since your record came out?
3 years ago.
Really? 3 years ago?
August 2017, August 20th, 2017. I'll never forget it. First debut solo album. But just funny because I played on so many albums before that, you know, that I feel like I could have called my own, but that was my debut solo thing where, you know, I did a lot of the producing, did all the singing, all the writing, all the drumming, all that stuff on it. So that's definitely my baby.
Now, what do you write on? I'm guessing if I had to guess, and the fact your mom's an organist, I would say keyboard, but...
Yeah, I do. I'm really not the greatest piano player, funny enough. I'm like literally just pit-pat kind of, maybe a couple chords here, but I'm not good at all. So I'm writing on piano, of course, and then I'm programming into Ableton. So between the both of those things, I can probably pretty much handle all the sounds and spectrums. And then I'll get it to actual musicians who know what they're doing, and then we'll play it together.
I do the same exact thing, so I feel you.
You know how it is when you write for a band, you're like, actually, I don't know if that note is right, but you know what? They'll understand.
Yeah, totally, 100%. Anytime I bring music to anyone, I'm like, this is my idea, but, you know, take a musician's mind and do what you do.
Please let it be your own. Take it and let it be yours.
So when did you join Tauk? Because when you guys...
Tauk, I would say my first gig with them was January 2012. So I had been rehearsing with them and trying to just fill the space until they got another drummer or a singer, because they had a singer before me as well. And I was just filling in space to keep it up going and keep the momentum going for them. And I know they wanted to continue to play shows, so we wind up actually gelling really easy in a couple rehearsals. And so I joined, my first official show was January 2012 in Philly, funny enough.
Philly.
Philly.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I mean,
so
I didn't realize that you weren't the first drummer, because I didn't really know Tauk until we did that tour together. There was probably a show before the Dopapod Tauk tour that I'm just not remembering, but we did like a lot of shows together. It was a long
definitely
tour.
did. That's when you had the purple Star Classic.
I still got it.
That kit? I know you still got it.
I still got it. I troubled with the fact that, technically speaking, the purple Star Classic is the same as my new Star Classic kit, as far as like they're both Birch Babinga, but I needed more drums. I needed bigger drums. I didn't necessarily need more drums. Like, and you would always take my 14 floor tom away and bring your 16 when there wasn't enough stage room to do the setup. And I always, like, it was just really hard. I had to keep it really loosely tuned, and it still wasn't there. And then like and then exactly, like, all of the lugs would start to like loosen up way sooner than they should have. So like I got the other kit, but I don't need two of the same kit. But I have so much sentimental value to that purple kit. It was like the first, not the first real like professional drum set, but like it was the first like top of the line drum set that I ever owned. So it did all the first studio sessions I ever did, and all the first touring, and Bonnaroo and Red Rocks. And it's like, and then when I was teching, like every drummer under the sun played that thing. Johnny Rath, Alan, and Adam Deitch, and like it was just like I can't get rid of that drum set ever. Like,
no, I always enjoyed playing it when when we couldn't put the full kit up, and everybody loves to play their own kit because that's where you're most comfortable. But I enjoyed playing your kit. I love the way your rack tom sound. It sounded really good. It sounded nice and warm. And I don't usually mess with clear heads either. And you had clear heads on there, and I was like, man, these sound freaking good. So,
I mean, it's funny enough, I loved the sound of your kit. At the time, you were playing the Yamaha kit, but like you had the Remo system or whatever, where it was just like everything was like, it was just fat, and it had like that tone that I liked, where like you either need to like throw some tape on or a bunch of moon gels or whatever, and you just had that system that it was just like you didn't have to do anything but have the system and put the head on, and you were good to go.
That's one of the things, and that Remo tray that I put in the foam tray, it's so old school. I remember growing up, and I went to a friend's church where I grew up on Staten Island, and he had it on his kit, and he had no bottom heads on his toms, but he had that tray on there. And every time I went to his drum set, every time I went to his church, I was like, man, I can't wait to play this drum set because his tom sounds so good. It's just like, it's just perfect. I was like, man, I need to find that. And then, I wind up finding this show sizes for mine, and it's a really old school thing, but it sounds so good. Funny enough, the kit that I have here, I don't have hydraulic heads on.
That I was just about to say. That's what I'm
pretty. I think
to achieve that 70s fat tone with like less overtones, and it's just like even playing the thing without it being on the drum. It's got that tone without even being on.
It's true. It's true. It's so warm. Yep. Yeah, man. Yeah, it feels good. I got a little baby Pearl Midtown kit here, real small, literally fits right next to my bed.
Yeah. I mean, I was showing before you came on, but I literally have, I got like my little Tama thing, and I got my low volume cymbals and mesh heads,
Oh yeah.
and the trigger, and it's just all running through an EAD 10.
Oh nice.
It's the little unit guy.
That's dope.
And it's awesome because I can practice because I'm in an apartment, so I can practice and it's quiet. But the microphone picks up the drums as quiet as they are and adds reverb and like all sorts of stuff to it. And then the triggers actually trigger like an 808 kick or a clap on the snare. So
yeah, that's what you want.
I'm able to do a lot with it. So it's practical for practicing as well as just like doing social media videos, which I literally just opened it out of the box today and like got all this stuff set up because I didn't know what to do. I was like, I probably shouldn't be buying a electronic drum kit where touring and like my main source of income is not in existence.
I know. I thought about it too. I thought about it because I'm like, man, I just want to record on that though. That's kind of what I just want to be able to plug any sound I want and play it on that and have it, instead of trying to configure my drum kit sounds to that. I just wanted to be that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty interesting with everything going on. I mean, how has everything been for you with just the fact that our lives are turned upside down for the last, now it's been what, 4 months since like it's been officially going on? I mean, I know this has kind of existed for like a month before that, but
yeah. It's been really good for me actually. I can't complain. I feel truly blessed, honestly, to still be in a position where I can provide for myself and not really lack for much. It's definitely a different life, but life on the road for us is constant. And so, when's the last time we've ever had 2 weeks off consecutively?
I mean, I've had my touring cycle is much different than what it used to be because I was definitely still on like how you guys are with like you're definitely doing over 100 shows a year.
Yeah,
right?
just probably right at that. Yeah.
Yeah, like we do like 70, and honestly, I think I mean, we've only existed for 2 years, but like it was around like 50 something, like so there wasn't that much compared to like what it used to be was like 120 or so. So I've definitely had a lot of like 2 weeks or a month off or whatever, but I've never had this much time off. And before having this set in here, I actually went like 3 months without playing drums and was like losing my mind a bit.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. That's one of the reasons why. And before this COVID quarantine, I didn't have any drums at home. I've always just went to a practice room if I really needed to, or had been around my kit long enough to have played and then want to take a break. But this is kind of a blessing in disguise because I feel like my body was getting to the point where it was just feeling overloaded with just so much movement, and so to have some time, like I can't even, like I was telling my mom, she was like, "When's the last time I had a month to just relax and get the proper rest and all that stuff?" So it's been a blessing. I still have students that I teach. I have about 3 or 4 students a week in different places, whether it be through Zoom or FaceTime or Skype or whatever the case. So that's always really fun, and it keeps me up on my own stuff, practicing and all that. But I literally roll out of bed and put some music on and play for an hour, and then just maybe come back to it. I'll have my windows open, and sometimes it's kind of funny because I have a fence that's outside my front yard, and I'll have a little bit of an audience. People are just like, where's that coming from? It makes me want to be a DJ and play drums to my own DJ work.
Yeah, dude. Sure. Last
So
episode I did was with KJ Saka, and that's essentially all he does. Is he's got his computer to do his thing, and his drum set right in front of him, ready to go, and it's can entertain people for hours and hours on end, for sure.
I thought about it too. I was like, man, if I can get a little hand truck, I could probably fit these drums on a little hand truck and take them to the park and, bring a little speaker and do some busking. I wouldn't mind, but it's been terribly hot here for the past 2 weeks, so not looking forward to do that. Maybe later in the beginning of fall or late summer. But my drum set's really small. Like the kick drum is it's a 16 by, I think it's like a 16 by 12.
Yeah, mine's an 18 by 12, and it's super light. It's in fact, the whole drum set is the bass drum in a case or in a bag, a 14 by 7 floor tom.
Yep.
And then a 13 by 5 snare drum, and that's all in one other bag, and then a 10 by 7 rack tom. And with the hydraulic heads on it, it does a really good job. I mean, once you throw a microphone too on like the floor tom, like it gets going. I mean, I had the Tama cocktail kit for a minute, the same thing that Sput tours with
with the reverse kick drum.
Yeah, and when you'd mic it, it sounded awesome.
Yeah.
But I was like overcompensating with how weak it felt, and like my knee would actually like hurt at the end of the show from like really digging in. Yeah, so I decided to get rid of it and get something that was more of like a real deal drum kit, but just smaller and easier to travel with. But that thing's easy because it all fit into a 16, or I guess it was more like an 18 by 12 bag. It all just collapsed. Yeah.
That's clutch. I mean, when you could just pack everything in there and just go, that's ideal. I didn't have any drums before that, so I just ordered these from Pearl. I had all my drums are in New York. My touring drum set is in New York. I still have a Rogers kit, kick drum and floor tom in New York that I wanted to ship out, but I was like, man, if they mess this up, I'm going to be upset.
Yeah, what year Rogers?
It's old. I think it's like 60. It's 60 something. I actually don't even know the year, but funny enough, my ex-girlfriend found it in Williamsburg, and they were gonna trash it, Scotty. They were gonna trash these kits, and I was actually on the road, and she called me up. She was like, "Hey, I'm gonna send you a picture of these drums. Tell me if you want them." And it's like this oyster blue bass drum. I'm sorry, the oyster blue floor tom, and then like this sparkle red kick drum, old lugs, everything, both Rogers. And I was like, I will pay for your cab right where you are to take it home. Don't tell anybody what you're doing. Just get it and go, because And so I pretty much got those for free. I've been wanting to sell them, but I haven't had any time to really refurbish them at all. So I want to get to the point where I can refurbish them, maybe have them sound really good, and then maybe sell them, maybe. But they're just collecting dust in the warehouse, bro. This is terrible.
That is something, all right.
I know, man. You know how it is with the vintage kits. It's like
that's my next purchase. Not for a while. I think if I get another drum set right now, well, especially right now, but I think Callie would kill me. But at some point, I need a vintage kit. I don't know what. Had my uncle not sold my dad's drum set while he was at medical school, I would have had like an old Ludwig.
Ooh, really?
Would have been nice. But
yeah, that would have been nice.
Well, Rogers actually is back now.
Oh, really?
They just started making drum sets again, like within the last couple of years or so, and they're still following like the old school Dynasonic snare. Like it, I'm sure there's something different about it, and I don't know much about Roger's stuff, but like it's pretty much, from what I can tell, they just recreated what they were making in like the 70s.
Nice.
Or
I'm
maybe
sure they have some new finishes and stuff on them.
yeah, stuff like that. But for the most part, like they wanted to stick with the classic Rogers,
Yeah.
uh, just their style of things. So like it's pretty much the same deal. In fact, I wonder if like you had a broken piece of hardware or something on one of your drums that like you could just get and
A newer piece
from
that's.
them. Yeah, exactly.
I might have to reach out to them if that's the case because I would love to really refurbish this kit and just to have it. I think it'd be great to have it. I'm not necessarily bring it out on the road because that's just not going to happen.
No,
Um,
don't tell
yeah.
Pearl.
Yeah, don't tell Pearl exactly.
You just hit up John when you need it. Is it John, right?
John?
Yeah, he was
From,
your artist rep, right?
yes, Perquas.
Yeah,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
yeah. He was my he was the guy I ordered from Tama before he was with Pearl.
Oh,
He
that's
was
funny.
Tama's like sales manager or I forget what his actual title was. It might have been sales manager, but anytime I needed something, I would reach out to my artist relations guy, Aaron,
Yeah.
who's now at Evans. So I'm still
That's
connected
cool.
with him. But he would send me to John, and John was like most of my contact of who I
That's
would
great.
talk with.
He's a great
So
dude. He's a
yeah,
great dude.
for sure.
Super great
Yeah,
dude.
nice. So what do you got on the what's on the horizon for you? You guys planning anything that you're even able to talk about with no pun intended?
Yeah, I think we're just gearing up to really do some recording probably in the late fall. I know I'm gonna have to probably shoot out to New York, which I'm dreading, um, at some point, just to meet up with those guys and do some writing and recording. So we've all been individually writing and trying to get a new thing going. I know we have a couple of anime videos we've been working on, which is great. I actually have another solo album coming out probably at the end of the year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got a couple tracks, and then I'm actually supposed to be playing with Robert Randolph sometime next weekend, which is kind of funny because it's I don't know what's happening. Supposedly it's like a huge outdoor space in Vail, and there's a lot of there's COVID protocol. Everybody there's pods and sectioned off areas in this wide open space.
Is it at that
So,
the amphitheater there?
yeah, and the
Yeah,
Vail Amphitheater.
I've never been there. Tom talks about it because he did like a Jerry Garcia birthday thing there and said that
Okay.
like the venue's like absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I looked it up. It looks great. I mean, I've never played there, but it looks really, really beautiful. And then it's a lot of open space. So depending on how many people there, I'm sure it'll do well. So that's kind of up on the horizon. But I've been chucking away trying to master my sounds of recording drums because I've never really done that on my own. So just trying to every day knock at the wall of trying to perfect the mixing and the actual recording of it. So that's kind of where my head is gauged these days.
Nice. Are you using? Do you have like your mic package out there or?
Yeah, I have my own mic package out here. It's nothing crazy. It's a couple 58s, Beta 57s, and I have an overhead here from Earthworks that's SR 314, which is really
Yeah,
cool.
that's that and your kick mic. That's really all you need.
That's all you need. I mean, you don't need to go crazy. Like I don't need to have every inch of this kick drum, this drum kit mic'd up. So I'm just trying to get the sounds right, because it's still in my bedroom. I got some soundproofing here, so I get to muffle it a little bit, but there's none over this side, so it's all just smacking the wall and coming right back to me. So I'm trying to just master the mixing of it. But yeah, man, that's what I'm in Ableton, like almost 5 hours a day, trying to be able to record and perform my own music as well as play and sing it at the same time. So I'm just working on like the solo live show.
That's great, man.
Yeah, man.
Glad to hear that you're taking this time to focus on you and do things that you normally wouldn't be able to do when we're on the road, or you're on the road all the time. I don't think people understand just how much it can take out of you. Where I remember struggling a lot of the time that I'd be out for 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks and coming back and being like, I really just don't even want to play. And does that make me a bad drummer or a musician? And the struggle of the fact that, like, no, this is just one part of me. It's a really big, extremely important part of who I am, but there are other things that I want to be doing. And I guess that's the one good thing about right now is, like, I do get to experience a lot more nature and trying to go on hikes and doing that sort of stuff, which is not bad here. I'm jealous of what Colorado has to offer, although I'd probably be that much more winded doing those hikes, whereas here
I'm still not. I'm used to the altitude here down in the city, but once I get up to the mountains, I'm just like, oh,
yeah,
okay, we're here now.
Yeah. Callie just got me a book for my birthday that is 60 hikes within 60 miles of Philadelphia. Yeah, so we're gonna be doing a lot more hiking.
That's great. That's good for the heart, man. It's good for the heart. Heart health is important. It's definitely important to get out there and just stay moving. I try to at least go once a week. I just got a nice little mountain bike out here. I don't even have a car here yet, which is funny. So I'm biking everywhere if I'm going out.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I mean, that's part of the reason with like hiking is that we're trying to just get away from people. Like I'll walk almost every day, a couple miles around like my neighborhood or around Philly, but there's still just people around. And even in our apartment building, I would say about 95% of our building, which has like 300 people living in it or so, are not wearing masks. It's very alarming. There'll be like 8 or 10 people waiting for the elevator, all standing close to each other, and they're about to get on an elevator and no one has a mask on.
That's so silly. What is oh god, that hurts my head.
Yeah. And it's like everyone wants things to get back to normal, but they're not normal. And if they're wearing a mask, they're never going back to normal. Oh, they will.
That's annoying.
So we decided more and more hikes and getting out of the city limits is going to be the best thing that we can do. And honestly, as much as the heart health is there for just the cardio of walking around and doing whatever, it's the mental health aspect that's really just like trying to stay as positive as possible. And at least for me, I would say I feel like for everyone, but at least for me, like getting out into nature just does something where I feel a lot more calm and relaxed. My ADD drifts away a little bit. My worries of when am I going back to performing and doing something that I've always kind of known, but I really know now is like deeply ingrained in me that it's something I need to do to kind of survive and be mentally fit and happy. It kind of floats a little bit away when I'm out in the wilderness and just going on a hike. And I don't know what it is, if it's the aspect of being out in nature and feeling a little close to the animals we all actually are, or if it's the fresh air or whatever. But I ain't complaining. I definitely love it.
Yeah, it's really great. I that's one of the things I thoroughly enjoy. And, you know, being born and raised in New York City, you don't really get to uh, enjoy super great outdoors on a regular basis. You're just, you know, sort of stuck in the concrete jungle. So that's been one of the greatest transitions for me, to just be able to accept doing that, and allowing myself to just be there. I went camping about 2 weeks ago. It was the best thing to not have any cell phone service, and you know, not have to access any social media, and not be distracted, and just, you know, be one with earth and sit by some water and listen to your thoughts, meditate, or don't, or just look at the beauty of the world. You know, it's really essential.
Yeah, for sure. I was looking at some of these questions, and
Oh
Cody
yeah.
had said, "Has it been refreshing having this downtime from touring, or does it make or does it make it that much more hungry for it?" So I feel like we've kind of been talking about it, but I think it's
Yeah.
like there's like a give and take of like it's nice at first
Yeah.
having the break, but now, yeah, I mean, I'm I'm real hungry.
I don't know if I'm that hungry. I'm still getting full on the time off.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. It used to happen a lot with the long tours with Dopapod, and I guess even like the 3 week tours that Ghostlight does, because we don't really go out for much longer than that without actually a decent sized break. Um, but like, I would go and be like, man, I can't wait to get home, and like, I need to get off the road. I need to spend a little bit of time away from these people that, although I love like being with those people like constantly every
Yeah,
day, it's like
every
can be
day.
a little much. But then like after like 2 weeks, I'd be like, okay, I'm ready to go back out.
Yeah, that's one thing I loved about, well, both New York and here in Colorado. That, you know, even off when I get off tour, I'm still able to go out to a jam and play some music, or I'm able to go sit in with somebody who's playing out here or there. So, you know, I feel like music is always going to be a thing where I can always find music. It's the thing when I get home off tour, off a 6 week or 7 week, 5 weeker, I'm just like, I don't want to see drumsticks. I don't want to load. I don't want to cross load. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to bus call. I don't want any of that. I don't want to look at my master tour. I don't want to look at any of that stuff. You know. So it's been good. I gotta say, I'm not really quite ready to get out on tour yet. I am ready to play with musicians, play
Yeah.
actual music with musicians, but I don't know if I'm ready to go on tour yet. I need a
No,
couple more weeks.
I hear you on that. I think as much as a small tour or something would be nice, for me it's just getting to play with musicians. But the biggest thing is still like the safety first of it all, and the fact that
That's,
like we're not there yet. I could be as ready as I want to be, but like
yeah,
we're not at a safe point to be doing that. And there are people that are doing it, and I like hate them for it, not because of jealousy, but because it's not safe and it's
it's
not
not.
smart.
Yeah, it's. My dad said something the other day. He was like, "Listen, we're not even approaching the second wave. For us to hit a second wave means that the first one has to end, and the first one hasn't ended. It's just the people who haven't gotten tested and had been spreading it, now they're getting the repercussions of it, and then now the people who had been spread to are feeling the effects of it. So we haven't even experienced phase two or you know, anything like that. It's just still in that phase one mode where, you know, we gotta still hunker down and quarantine. And it's crazy because we're fully open here in Colorado, fully open. So there are no music venues that are doing anything like that. But I've seen some things on some patios that have been happening, like outdoor things. And so I haven't gone to any just because I'm not ready to venture out. I'm still in the point where I'm like asking people who they've been hanging out with, and how, you know, how many people have you
Yeah,
seen this past week, or, you know, that kind of thing.
as you should be. I think not enough people are doing that. Like it's not. It's like it's super weird how it's almost like that. Don't be such a baby, or like why are you so worried? And it's like Because
Why are
you
you
should be.
not?
You should be asking questions. Yeah, like seriously. It's really it's kind of alarming to me in that that's just where we're at right now because people are frustrated and I understand that, but like look at New Zealand. They're
Yeah,
they're back to normal because they
that's
they they did things right, and then when
yeah,
things are ready, they can open up again.
right.
And I know that they're a smaller country and they're an island, but like it's a glimpse of what could be if we just do things right. But like not in America.
Not
America,
America.
America,
We're too busy
America.
hung
You
up
knew what he was
on
because people we got freedom, which I am more and more starting to believe is not actually the case, but
yeah.
something that we've said for a long time. But
Yeah, I don't know. There's I don't see much freedom. We have the freedom to do whatever we want, which is not necessarily the greatest thing.
yeah,
So yeah, I don't know. It's we're in interesting times right now, and I think that you know a lot of people need to journey inward and really do some self work, self love, check ins with themselves, and try to figure out what kind of person you want to be and what kind of life and example you want to set for people around you and yourself. And I think that we need to have a checklist like that on the daily basis. And if more people were doing that, we'd be in a better place.
amen to that, brother. I know whenever I need some words of wisdom, speaking the truth, something deep and spiritual, I always know who to call or message.
It's true, man. Because I mean, and the thing is, a lot, I was thinking about that. I was like, man, there's so many people who are, voicing their opinions and voicing their beliefs and all that stuff through social media, and that's a platform for them, and that may be their only platform, but there's got to be more than that. There's got to be a point where you take you do a little checklist with yourself and say, okay, am I doing this? How am I reaching people? Am I impacting people in a positive way? Am I letting a light that's positive shine? Am I dimming somebody's light by doing that? There's a whole lot of things that come into play. And so, we just got to be mindful, super mindful and intentional about where we are these days with our speech, with our money, with our actions, with our message.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. Isaac Teel's checklist. I think this is something you can do. You can capitalize off, or you don't even have to capitalize off this. This is something that spiritual capitalization.
Yeah, man. There's so many people. I mean, I feel like there are a lot of people not taking that into effect. That it's more than just a race issue. It's more than just an equality issue. It's more than just that. Like you versus me. It's an overall security in yourself to know that if you're taking care of yourself the right way, that means somebody else should be doing the same thing. That means that they're going to take care of you in the same effect, because treat everybody like you want to be treated should be how the forefront of our minds. And if we can all just adapt to that, then we'll all be a lot better, and things will be a lot easier. People will be surprised how easy things would be, how smooth and transitional that things would be, life would be, if we all just got on the point where we want to treat everybody how we want it to be treated ourselves.
100%, man.
Yeah. What's Cody saying? Cody, what was your last show before the lockdown? What was your last show?
My last show was out there. It was the leap year show, February 29th at the Ogden Theater.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
I think we did a run in Colorado, Winter Park, Boulder Theater, Cervantes. We did a Stevie Wonder. We did Talking Wonder Night at the Boulder Theater, and then we did a Talking Friends at Cervantes. That might have been the last show for me, because I was in New York when things really, really hit the fan, and I was doing some writing and recording with the guys. We had shows in DC lined up the weekend of the first weekend of March, I believe it was. We were going to go to 930 Club with Motet, and then we were going to do another show in Harrisburg, PA, and then that following week we were going to Iceland with Humphreys. So all that got canceled right away. And as soon as that happened, I called my manager and I was like, I need to get out of New York tonight. Not right now, tonight.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Colorado was my last show too, funny enough.
Yeah, we did. We had that show. And to really emphasize it, we didn't do like a big Colorado run. We wanted to make sure, because the Ogden for us, but even for a lot of people, is a big room. I mean, 1,600 tickets is a lot of tickets.
That's a good play, man. That's
yeah.
Really play.
But we also had a show we did in Vail. We played the U.S. Open, the Burden Open.
Dope.
Yeah.
That's
Which
good.
was crazy, though, because all this stuff was, like, starting to circulate. Like, you heard word of it and everything, and, like, there was a big, from all the people that traveled all over the world, and especially the United States, to go to the U.S. Open, like, a lot of coronavirus was taken out of Vail or out of Colorado and then spread all over. And I remember going there thinking, I did all this research on coronavirus. I'm not afraid of this thing anymore. I'm going to be safe. And I'm not like, I normally come home, wash my hands and take my shoes off and do that stuff anyway. But like, I wasn't super worried. But on the flight to Colorado, Raina was like, are you worried at all about this? And I was like, no, I just listened to a podcast about this. I know the science behind it. My dad's a pulmonologist. Like, I'm fine. But you'd see people around with masks. And then as like we're out there, more and more is developing about what's going on in like Wuhan, China. And the flight home, on March 1st, I was pretty scared.
Yeah. Man, the flight, I think I took a flight back March 4th or 5th back here to Denver, and I pretty much had a hazmat suit on. Because I was like, I'm not touching a single thing. And I'm a neat freak, germaphobe. Oh,
Amen.
Anyway, so I'm kind of like, man, I'm the person that, is outside and knows that I have something on the floor in my bedroom. I'm like, damn, why didn't I pick that up? So, I'm like not touching a single thing. I'm lavender, hand sanitizing everything, wiping things down in the airport. I get back home and I literally take off my clothes and I throw them in the trash because I'm so like, no, I don't even want to think about it. I came from New York and I'm not stepping foot in my bedroom.
Oh, you're talking about on this flight home. You don't always fly home and throw your clothing in the trash.
No, I don't. I'm talking about this specific flight home from New York at the time, because when I heard it, it was getting crazy in New York that week. And it was crazy because that was like the week after Kobe died, and it was all this crazy shit happening, and I was just like, what the hell is going on with the world right now? World's going to hell on a scholarship, and I don't understand what's happening. And so, I was like, you know what, I'm not taking subways in New York. I really don't even want to take Ubers, but that's the only real way to get from one place to the next quickly. And so I got a call, like I said, from my manager, and it was like, hey, we booked you on a 10:30 flight back to Denver. I was like, I'm headed to the airport right now. It's only 7:30. I don't care.
Yeah.
So,
Getting ready, getting out. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, hopefully, I'm interested to see the side effects or not even side effects, the effects of what this all means after the fact, because
yeah, it's going to be hard.
Are people going to try and have things go back to normal? Are we going to take some of these the mental aspects of being clean freaks and everything that goes into it? Like you were saying, and I'm in the same boat. I'm already there. I get back from tour, suitcase stays by the door and gets unloaded, immediately goes into the machine, clothing off. I'm in the shower. Like,
Yeah.
not much has changed other than wearing a mask out in public and like keeping clear of people, which
Right.
I'm very much like a people person. I
Me
don't,
too.
especially people I know, like I like hugging people hello and the whole greeting thing. I'm interested to see what comes of this, because now it's been, over the last month, I've like started to social distance hang with like one or maybe two people, like literally outside with a good at least 6 foot distance, wearing masks, like the whole 9 yards during
Oh
the
yeah.
day where I know that like UV light is breaking this thing down. But it's weird to like see them and just be like, hey, and like
Yeah, I
from
know.
a
Hey,
distance,
give me
like
the elbow.
not even the elbow. Keep your elbow away from. I don't know where that elbow's been.
Yeah, man, I feel you. It's gonna be interesting, to see what happens and see what is the new norm for
Yeah.
people. I I'm kind of thankful for this break because the Earth gets a little break from all this crazy, uh, fumes and pollution and all that. I appreciate that for the first couple of months anyway. When things were shut down for real. Um, I kept seeing all these really funny memes about animals coming out of hibernation early because the Earth is actually not polluted. So, I appreciate that. And sometimes, people need to take a break from life because it's just too overwhelming. And, me, myself, I've been diving hardcore into all the things that I've been wanting to do, all my other aspirations outside of music. I have a clothing line that I'm prepping.
Oh,
A lot of different things
I've
that are
always loved your
happening.
style, so I'm
I,
excited. Oh,
I appreciate it, man. I have a patent and healthy ink patent that I'm working on. So it's like it's a necessary break, and I hope that people really take the time to dive back into the things that are really great for mental health and just healing themselves. Take the time away from screens, take the time away from social media, take the time away from people sometimes to just get back into yourself.
self-reflection is key.
So
We
key.
don't we don't do that enough in general. I don't want to single out the United States, but especially in the United States, there's
Yeah,
definitely a lot of people are worried about everyone else and everyone else's problems and what they need to do to make sure that others are comfortable, and like, take care of yourself.
please, because that's what we need. That's what we need everybody to do. I need you to take care of you.
Well, listen,
Yeah.
buddy, it's given me the countdown of
Oh,
this thing's going to be
goodness.
over. So I love you, brother. Thank you
I
for
love you
doing
too, man.
this. It was good
Thank you.
catching up. I hope to see you
Yes.
when all of this is good. Someone pointed out, let's work on calling this physical distancing instead of social distancing. I agree with
Yeah.
that, but I do also think that people need to social distance a little bit because too many people hanging out with too many people. No, it's not the time.
I'm with you on that wholeheartedly. Thanks again,
Yeah.
Scotty, for having me. I appreciate it, man. Blast. I needed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Be safe.
Peace.
Later.
Okay. Isaac Teel from Tauk, everyone. Amazing person. If you were just joining, we're wrapping up, but every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Instagram Live, I do this with a different drummer. Next week, I actually did not get a confirmation, so I normally don't like to announce, but I'm going to do it anyway. If it changes, I'll let you know. But next week is going to be Marlon B. Lewis, who is an amazing, amazing drummer. He plays for Star Kitchen, and he's also played for Lauryn Hill and French Montana and a bunch of amazing artists. So keep an eye out for that and stay safe, wear a mask, and love one another. Peace.